Lowe's knows tough jobs call for tougher tools. The new DeWalt Elite Series power tool accessories are built to last for the pro who doesn't stop. With precision fitment, durability, and impact resistance, finishing jobs faster has never been easier. Shop the new DeWalt Elite Series at an everyday low price exclusively at Lowe's. We help, you save.
Start doing the Badger stuff. Alrighty, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Jake is back. We missed him last night and we missed him last Wednesday, but we got some stuff figured out. So Jake is back today. Today we're starting a little bit early because we have a bunch of Milwaukee Brewer games to discuss, and then we are also starting part one of our Badgers, basically primer. We have shows this week and next week that will involve Badgers football, and then we are a little over a week away from the first Badgers football game. So Today we're going to be going through, which is crazy, by the way, right? We're going to be going through the Jeff Grimes hire for offensive coordinator. We're going to be going through the incoming transfers, so you're familiar with some of the names who are going to be important players on the team. We're going through the incoming freshmen. Mike is going to give us the state of recruiting for 2026 and 2027, and then we are also going to discuss our X factors and our freshmen to watch. So lots of baseball and then a bunch of football to discuss today. So we're going to hit the intro and we're going to get started on the baseball.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
So, gotta say, we are just a few days removed from Sunday. Sunday was the Cardboard Legacy show at the Oshkosh Convention Center. Appreciate Cardboard Legacy for always giving us a table there so that we have an opportunity to interact with people and get some more people to follow the show. And obviously, as a sponsor of the show, we want to thank Cardboard Legacy for that as well. Nick and Riley, the guys that run the shop. Nick's the owner. Riley is, I would say, like the main man, the right-hand man for Nick. They are good guys, and we appreciate them. So if you are in the Oshkosh area or if you're passing through the Oshkosh area, stop by Cardboard Legacy. Tell them we sent you. And give them some love because they've supported our show for the last year and a half and hopefully into 2026. So we'll see, but that's up to Nick. So again, support Cardboard Legacy. They've supported us and we appreciate that. Now, jumping into baseball, Jake, you weren't here last week, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk first about the wild, weird, and crazy game that we had with Brewers and Reds last Friday night.
First, I want to say thank you to you for holding this down, man. You've been doing an incredible job over the last couple of weeks. Well, my life has seamlessly been falling into little tiny bits and pieces, one little tiny bit at a time. But we're going to figure it out day by day. Happy birthday to you as well. I hope everybody who follows this show made sure to give you the happiest birthday. Secondly, I did not realize how important this show was to my mental health until I was not able to join it. I've had to miss the last 2 episodes, and it's just eating me up inside. I've been, irritable lately, and I'm like, I just want to talk about sports, bro, because that makes me happy, and that's the one constant I've always had in my entire life. So as we get into it, the first 2 games were absolutely insane. I'm already getting goosebumps, man, because it's crazy. And my main takeaways from these games I will get to in a sec, but Brewers ended up winning this one, as we all know, getting to 13 in a row. This is the Miz's first start. He was on the mound to start this one, his first start since going on the 15-day IL. And you know what? He looked like, 1, he looked like a rookie, and 2, he looked like a guy coming off the 15-day IL.
Yep.
So with both those things being said, I'm not going to be really, really upset. I just want to make sure that the velocity was up there. The command will come with more starts, so I'm not upset about that. Honestly, just making sure that he looked comfortable up there. Now, he kind of got dinked and dunked all over. He gave up 5 earned runs and only got 4 outs. If that's the kind of thing that you keep track of, it is what it is. The 3 walks is not a beautiful thing, but the command will come with more starts. So again, I'm not going to look at this start and be like, oh no, the playoffs are right around the corner. I got to be worried about Mizorowski now. No, that's not how
Can I jump in on Mizorowski quick before we talk about other pitchers?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
So I think the first batter of the first inning and the first batter of the second inning were his 2 best at-bats. He got strikeouts in both of them, one looking, one swinging. And then his command kind of came a little rough. Like you said, it's his first game back. I just want to throw a disclaimer out there because I know some people were bringing it up, especially on Twitter, X, whatever, that Great American Ballpark has a weird mound, and that it does. And I don't want to use it as an excuse for why Mizorowski didn't pitch well. I would say it's a factor, but I'm not going to say he didn't pitch well because of the mound, which is something I saw some people suggesting. And I don't want that to be the excuse. I just want to understand that it's a factor, that he is a guy coming back from an injury. And what we talked about, and I'm going to use Jackson Churio as a big example of playing in unfamiliar ballparks.
Yeah.
So a flatter mound is something that Mizorowski hasn't really dealt with. So in addition to being back from an injury, he was also dealing with an unfamiliar mound, a flatter mound that he's used to. So again, I don't want to use it as an excuse because obviously the rest of the Brewers pitching was insane, and we're gonna get to that. But I just don't want people thinking that Mizorowski only pitched poorly because of the mound. So I just wanted to add that in there as a disclaimer. As a rookie, like you said, adjusting to ballparks, adjusting to outfields, in this case, adjusting to a different size pitcher's mound.
Honestly, that's a really great point to bring up and something that I didn't even think of. So that's absolutely something that needs to be brought up. DL Hall came in relief of Mizorowski, and he got roughed up a little bit at first, but this is going to be my main takeaway as well, leaning from DL Hall over to Christian Yelich. People underestimate the leadership of Christian Yelich. There is a ton of quotes. If you go on MLB.com and you read comments about the game, when the beat reporters write about the game and when they do their whole synopsis of every single game, and there's a ton of quotes from Christian Yelich. Looking at Pat Murphy and saying, in the second inning when the Brewers were down 8-1, he looked at him and said, "We're going to win this ball game." And then he looked at DL Hall and he said, "Just keep him right there. We're going to score some runs. We're going to win this ball game." 1 second. Okay. So his leadership was on full display. His confidence is unreal. He got to use a bat that he's been waiting to take at bats with for an entire year. Obviously, last year ended subtly and sadly for Christian Yelich. He never got to use the Bob Uecker bat in front of Bob Uecker. But the power of Uecker is strong with the Brewers, and Yelich had 4 hits and 5 RBIs. He was a triple away from his 4th ever triple versus Cincinnati. And that's an insane stat in itself. DL Hall, like I said, he got roughed up a little bit to start, but he got the last 2 that he got started a run of 23 straight Cincinnati Reds that got retired in this ball game. Which you're looking at this box score, and if you're watching the game, either or, and you're like, holy cow, the Reds scored 8 runs, the Brewers barely won this game. And then you look at how the Brewers did it, it's like they dominated for 80% of this game. The Brewers pitching locked in. And the visual I always get when like people lock in is that meme of the guy playing video games where he's sitting back and he's like, "Oh, you talking?" And then he sits forward and he locks in and he starts whooping your ass. And that's the visual I got. Again, Yelly, Terang, Vaughn, those are the guys that had the big-time RBIs. Vaughn with another home run just pissing off all of Chicago, so that always makes me laugh. Well, I should say half of Chicago. Well, the Cubs fans are probably mad about it too, I'll say. Christian Yelich with 2 home runs. He said, "F it on the cycle. I'd rather have a 2 home run game with the Bob Uecker bat." So that was amazing. And the 4 for 15 runners in scoring position is a big thing for me. Lots of opportunities. We've been talking about that forever. And I got one stat for you. So obviously this win got us to 13 in a row, tied the all-time franchise record for win streak for the Brewers. This was the largest comeback in MLB history to extend a winning streak ever. The previous high was 5 by the 1934 Detroit Tigers and the 2002 Oakland A's. The Brewers now have that record on top of their tying their team record of 13 wins in a row. So, I mean, incredible night on Friday.
I love that. So we talked about Mizorowski, and we did have Stewart Baroa throw a guy out at home plate to only allow 1 run in the first inning. Bottom of the second, there was a 1-2 count to Mizorowski, ended up having a walk-on after a hit by pitch. Then allowed a 5-pitch walk that ended up resulting in 3 straight walks, and he was done at 55 pitches. DL Hall did allow a double, and then a chopper ended up bouncing over Joey Ortiz into the outfield. Like you said, just kind of dink and dunk type stuff. 3 singles and a blooper, another one off a guy's hands that finds grass, another super soft blooper, and we're at a 7 spot. And it's 8-1, and Bryce Durang is getting looked at, and Pat Murphy and Bryce Durang and everybody are all smiling and laughing. Then cut to Christian Yelich talking to Pat Murphy in the dugout, saying that the Brewers are going to win that game.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest takeaways. I was like,
dude, wow. What the fuck? Is literally what I wrote in my notes. And you brought up Christian Yelich's leadership, and it's like, it's being talked about in a bunch of different places.
Yeah.
Like, several different people are saying, hey, Christian Yelich is a leader on this team. He's a quiet guy, but he is a great leader. It's a thing where, like, there's so much smoke coming on this that there has to be fire somewhere, and it's in the clubhouse.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that justifies his entire contract alone, but the fact that he's not playing defense and the fact that he's just healthy and productive, maybe not MVP level, obviously, because we've seen what that looks like, but I don't think there's anybody that should be complaining about Christian Yelich's contract when you mix in his productivity and his leadership. And again, it's something that's being talked about all over the place, not just by Pat Murphy or by, Isaac Collins. It's all over the place that we're hearing about Yelich's leadership.
Yeah, beat writers everywhere.
Yeah. Back-to-back fielders' choices did end of the second, and the Reds did not have a single base runner for the rest of the game. Like Jake said, retired 23 straight to end the game. There were a couple close calls. In the bottom of the fifth, Nick Mears had a leadoff tapper, jumped off the mound, got the runner at first base. Another one where Sal Frelick made a diving catch on a blooper. Got to a 3-2 count with Ke'Bryan Hayes and got him to strike out on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in the upper third. I mean, there was opportunities for the Reds to get on base, and they couldn't. Bottom of the sixth, Aaron Ashby had 2 strikeouts. Bottom of the seventh, Abner Uribe had a strikeout on 3 nasty sliders. I continue to claim that he's got 2 elite pitches.
Oh, yeah.
Both of his pitches are elite.
And he has an elite celebration.
Yeah. Which I've seen a bunch of Brewers wearing the El Pistola t-shirts, and it's like, that's tough, but they're not for sale anywhere. Dude. Not anywhere legit anyways. Like, you're going to get a virus on your computer if you go to those websites to get one.
It might be worth it, dude.
Andrew Vaughn made a nice play on a sharp grounder. Abner Uribe got another strikeout on a slider. Bottom of the eighth, Koenig pitched well. Bottom of the ninth, Trevor McGill throwing both of his pitches for strikes. Andrew Vaughn made a nice play on the third out to retreat on a ground ball by Elly De La Cruz. And, I mean, you can't say enough good things about all of the pitchers who were involved in this game.
Dude.
I understand what the Brewers were trying to do by having Mizorowski pitch this game. You're trying to get innings from anywhere that you can. And, obviously they didn't get as many innings as they were hoping to from Mizorowski, but any innings they were willing to take. Going to the offensive side of the ball, you mentioned Yelich's home run with the Euchre bat, and it's like one of those things where it happens, and it's like you got to love sports.
When I seen that, I thought of the line of how can you not be romantic about baseball? That's literally the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, damn, bro, that's special, dude.
It's one of those things where, like, if you think about it, it makes it start to seem like there's, some mist in the room and some onions being cut nearby if you think about it too much.
Yeah, I wasn't cutting the onions, but they were working.
What it feels like. Top of the third, the Brewers had a bunch of singles and a fielder's choice. Good hustle by William Contreras to not get double played. Again, Andrew Vaughn hit another home run. I keep saying don't hang breaking balls to Christian Yelich, but don't throw middle fastballs to Andrew Vaughn. I mean, it doesn't even have to be middle. It can be middle upper third. It can be middle lower third. And Vaughn is going to hit a fastball if you throw it in the middle of the plate.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's high or low. Caleb Durbin basically mashed a single that bounced over the left fielder. Bryce Durang doubled him in to cut the 7-run lead down to 2, and the red starter was done. This is something I'm going to bring up in another game when we get to the doubleheader yesterday. But top of the fourth, Sal Frelick and Joey Ortiz both had back-to-back one-out singles. William Contreras could have been a double play ball, but Gavin Lux was looking where he was going with the ball before getting the ball. That's a big no-no. And just kind of booted it, and everybody ended up safe. Christian Yelich made it hurt with an opposite field single to tie the game, and this is where we are in like the, oh my God, how many ways can the Brewers keep getting away with this territory? Top of the sixth, Christian Yelich with a triple short of the cycle, like you said, decides to instead get 4 bags instead of 3.
Yep.
Gives the Brewers a 9-8 lead. Both of the home runs that he hit were to left center field.
The power is powering lately.
It for sure is. Andrew Vaughn did have a single after that, but I need to give some credit where it's due, and the credit is to Ke'Bryan Hayes, a player who is very good. He made a very good play on a Caleb Durbin ball that was kind of a dribbler up the third baseline, and Ke'Bryan Hayes made a really nice play to start a 5-4-3 double play. That's a really, really tough play to make. Yeah, so I want to give credit where it's due.
He's nasty in the field, dude. He's got the weather.
He is really, really good. And I don't like the Reds for making that trade because that was a good trade.
It was a good trade for them.
Credit where it's due. Top of the 7th, Brandon Lockridge had a deep double to right center field. Sneaky pop. I'm going to keep saying it because one of these days he's going to hit like a 430-foot home run, and it's going to be like, whoa, where did that come from? And it's going to be like the dude from Wisco Fanatics has been saying it for 2 weeks that he's got sneaky pop.
Dude, he's got crazy wheels, dude. He's so fast.
Yeah.
So fast.
He like mashed a ball that ended up being like foul in the seats. I think it was, I don't remember if it was yesterday or Wednesday or Monday afternoon, but it's like, dude, he's gonna hit a monster home run at some point. It's going to happen, and I'll be like, haha, told you so. But I think it's gonna happen. Did get to third on the bobble. Now you beautifully said it right after I bring up that he hit a double, that he's fast. Him being at second, standing, another fielder looking at where they're going with the ball before they have it, causing a bobble. That's not luck. That is pressure. That's not luck. That's pressure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to start saying anytime that there's a, quote, error committed while the Brewers are running the bases. It's not luck. It's not, the Brewers aren't getting lucky that the guys are taking their eyes off the ball when the ball is rolling to them. That's not luck. If guys are taking their eyes off the ball, it's because they're looking at the runners who are putting pressure on their opponents. That's what I'm going to be saying from now on. And then Maul threw multiple fastballs that were way too high, loses a breaking ball that didn't break enough, and a wild pitch allows Lockridge to score from third base. So good job on that. You brought up a great stat with the Brewers franchise record, tying it from 1987. Everybody was on base. Everybody except for Baroa had a hit, and this was the third largest comeback of the 2025 season. So let's jump into game 2, and the previous franchise record of 13 games is broken in this game. Now, looking at straight batters retired, between Game 1 and this game, the Brewers retired 32 straight batters. The pitchers were dialed. Quinn Priester was off to a much better start than he was in his previous start. He had an 8-pitch 1-2-3 first inning. His breaking stuff looked good. He had a 1-2-3 second. He had a 1-2-3 third. His slider was dialed in. I mean, retiring 32 straight batters, allowing one to reach base, and immediately getting a 6-4-3 double play. I mean, it's very encouraging to see after Quinn Priester had a not great start his last time out. Now, that 32 straight batters retired also breaks a franchise record. The previous franchise record was 29 in 1998.
Dang.
So Brewers are out here breaking records. I mean, worry about the postseason when it gets here. We are in one of the best Brewers seasons in franchise history.
Yeah.
That can be true while excluding whatever is going to happen in the postseason when we get there. That's why we keep saying to enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, because we are on that now. And this journey is one of the best seasons in franchise history. That's just factual at this point. The statistics will tell you that this is one of their best seasons in franchise history. The fastest seasons to 80 wins, the things like that. These are all franchise records, best season in franchise history records. Postseason aside, we will worry about that when we get there. Be present. This is awesome now.
Yeah. Honestly, this could be the year that they set the wins record. So you're going to want to remember this ride as they get there, right?
Yeah. So after that, no damage. The number 9 hitter with 2 strikes in the bottom of the 6th did hit a solo home run to tie the game. 2 batters later, another one with 2 strikes. The home run only would have been a home run in 10 out of 30 ballparks. It is what it is. 2 singles later, Aaron Ashby comes in, gets 2 strikeouts. Bottom of the 7th, Shelby Miller pitched a 1-2-3. Bottom of the 8th, Jared Koenig had a 1 walk and then a 2-3 double play. Bottom of the 9th, Abdi Uribe with 2 outs had a single. Guy got the second on a wild pitch, gets a strikeout to end it. Going to extra innings because, of course, Trevor McGill pitches the 10th with the Brewers up 1, throwing just heat. Gets a ground rule double, makes the game 3-3, and then for some reason, and I'm getting pretty tired of this happening, gets squeezed into a walk that gets Ellie De La Cruz to the plate.
Yeah.
This is some bullshit because it happened to him in Chicago to get Pete Crow Armstrong to the plate.
Yep.
And now it's happening in Cincinnati to get Ellie De La Cruz to the plate. That's some bullshit. Trevor McGill was an all-star. He should get calls. It shouldn't be, okay, squeeze whoever is on the mound to get a star up to the bat.
It's because they want to see the star versus star is really what it is.
Which is some bullshit.
It's stupid.
Trevor McGill deserves calls.
I agree.
Bottom of the 11th, McMears pitched. 2 sac flies made the game 6-4. A solo home run made the game 6-5, and then a fly out to end the game. That made just another kind of crazy day. 14 straight starts by Quinn Priester that were wins for the Brewers.
Damn, son.
Looking at the offensive side of the ball, the bottom of the order getting it done again. Top of the 2nd inning, Caleb Durbin has a 2-out, 2-strike hit. Bryce Durang gets a double over the right fielder, who is a converted infielder playing outfield. Brewers did score first, and Littell had to throw 10 extra pitches. Kind of quiet for the offense after that. The top of the 7th, the Brewers had a good chance. Caleb Durbin had a leadoff double. Tyler Black had a 1-out walk, and a wild pitch gave the Brewers 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs, but Sal Frelick grounded out to end the inning. Go to the top of the 8th, back-to-back leadoff walks. Christian Yelich couldn't lay off a low and in breaking ball. Is what it is. Top of the 9th, Bryce Durang, another leadoff walk. Tyler Black drew another walk, and with 1 out, Sal Frelick had a fielder's choice that Ellie De La Cruz rushed the throw, and it got by the first baseman, and Bryce Durang scored. 2 things here. 1, still does not make the Brewers lucky that there was an error committed that allowed the Brewers to tie the game. 2, the E in EDLC could easily stand for error because Ellie De La Cruz commits a shit ton of errors at shortstop.
Dude, he really does.
People want to act like he's a superstar. He's super fun to watch, but he is not among the best shortstops in baseball.
He's super talented.
He's absolutely super talented. He's athletic as hell.
He's not a superstar.
He might need to follow the O'Neal Cruz into center field route because he commits a lot of errors. He also strikes out a shit ton, but that's not what we're talking about right now. And 3, even if Ellie makes that throw clean, Sal Frelick would have been safe.
Yep, he beat the throw.
So, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bryce Durang would have scored because they needed the ball to go away from the first baseman for him to score. Yep. But I just wanted to throw all those other things out there. Top of the 10th, William Contreras hits a single. The left fielder bobbled it and then kind of rolled his ankle, which is a little fucked up because the Reds DFA'd him the next day on Sunday morning. They DFA'd Jake Fraley. I will say I did tweet about this, that I noticed that the foot that he planted on and rolled his ankle on was actually the same ankle that he fouled a pitch off of in the bottom of the 9th inning. So this was kind of an unfortunate thing. So hopefully Jake Fraley is good and gets another shot at the MLB because he deserves it. But Just kind of one of those unfortunate things.
Jake Fraley's not that bad of a player.
I don't think so either. There was a lot of people that were surprised that he was DFA'd.
He'd be a very good, rotational guy in an outfield if you needed a little bit of pop.
I would not hesitate for the Brewers to give him a minor league deal with an invite to spring training.
I was thinking it. I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking it.
Totally seems like something the Brewers would do.
Yep.
3-2 lead. William Contreras got to second base on that exchange there. Christian Yelich was intentionally walked. Andrew Vaughn grounded into a double play, and Caleb Durbin grounded out.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the 11th, Bryce Durang bunts, beats it out, and Andrew Monasterio bats for Tyler Black. And the first pitch, jumps on the first pitch, gets a middle changeup. He was looking to go to right center to try to drive in 1 run, and instead drives in 3 with a pinch hit home run on the first pitch. Made the game 6-3 Brewers, and I tweeted about this. I posted it on Facebook. I put it in all caps because it was one of those things where, like, you just want to shout, like, this guy deserves this moment. You can go back to our shows from 2 years ago when Andrew Monasterio very first came up to the big leagues, and you can hear us talking about Andrew Monasterio and how infectious his smile is. He is a guy who comes up and he enjoys being here, and he shows it physically. He is a guy that you want to cheer for because his demeanor fits so well, and he is a guy that you can tell just plays for the love of the game. With that love of the game, we have also talked about it a whole bunch of times this summer. That dude stays locked in so well for a guy who plays so sporadically. There's nothing you can do to teach that. There's so many times where Andrew Monasterio gets put into a game and he notices something that a guy that's played the first 7 innings of the game doesn't notice from the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't overstate that. That's such an intangible trait that Andrew Monasterio has that makes him a fantastic utility man to have on your roster. He's not a high average guy. Obviously, if he was, he'd be starting somewhere. But the guy is a very high level backup.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, a great human being from the interactions you can get from him. Mm-hmm. So of any of the guys that could show up and hit a home run in that moment, I'm so glad it was Andrew Monasterio.
Yeah, we both echo the same sentiment. So first of all, you talk about how he always stays ready. I'm going to give a little credit today to Pat Murphy, because Pat Murphy on this day, Saturday night, kept bugging him 2, 3. This was the 4th time that he said, "Are you ready for your moment? Are you ready for your moment?" And Monasterio answered yes every single time. And Murphy had nothing but great things to say, as he always does. Murphy is so perfect at riding the line of motivating his guys, but also, like he motivates them, but he also gives them the credit when it's due, right? And when they're not playing well, he doesn't just go, "Oh man, these guys stink. This guy sucks. This guy sucks." He just looks at it from a different angle, and he's just, I don't know, man. He's the master at it, man. It's unexplainable, really. And on this day, how amazing this home run was. Monasterio over the past 3 years has had 5 home runs. 5 home runs for the Brewers in a Brewers uniform. The Brewers have had 0 pinch hit home runs before his hit. Monasterio has had 0 pinch hit home runs in his career. Monasterio has had 0 first pitch home runs in his career. He has had 0 walk-off home runs in his career. He got all 3 of those. 4 of those, technically, because the Brewers had 0 pinch hit home runs this year. He got all 4 of those with 1 swing. And I was at a bar out in Fremont. We were celebrating my girlfriend's sister's birthday, and her whole family was there and stuff. And I was already kind of annoyed that I was in the bar, because I don't like the bar scene no more. I don't want to watch games there because, like, people don't know what they're talking about. and I'm sitting there by myself just watching the game. And, then they start making things interesting. They score, and then there's the error by Ella de la Cruz. And then, like you said, Fraley, he freaking, I thought he freaking tore something in his knee. I was like, Jesus, it looked like I thought he buckled his knee, honestly.
Yeah, it looked bad.
The ankle makes sense, but, man, I was like, oh, damn, man, did his knee just lock up? Oh, that looked like it hurt, right? And then, the home run by Monasterio, and everybody just erupts. And I was like, this is the cool part about being in a bar is you're with a bunch of people who are cheering for the same thing as you are. Even though they might not understand it as well as you, they're still cheering for the same thing. So I thought that moment in itself, being around my girlfriend's family, being around, my son and my daughter and my Winter, man, she's really starting to love the Brewers, man. Because I have the Brewers on every game. I have it on the TV upstairs, or I'll be down in my man cave watching the game. And she just looks up to me. She goes, Daddy. I'm like, yep, there they are again, girl. 162 of them. Then we got to load up for the playoffs. And she gets excited for Packer games and Badger games. She's really good at doing the W now. So,
Nice.
I mean, just the connection that, I feel the connection like when my dad was passing it on to me, I feel it with my kids. So, having those moments with my kids and Monasterio providing that, honest to God, I think I'm just going to love Monasterio for the rest of my life because this
Absolutely.
guy, he's the best, dude. And we were texting after the game like, dude, could not happen to a better person. And he talked about it after the games like, he's like, I didn't know it was going to be 14 for 14 in a row. Like, I wasn't prepared for that kind of moment. And he's like, this is one of those things that, like, God just takes over and it's unexplainable. And, like, it just makes you feel good when good people get stuff that they deserve, right? And that's just what I felt. Also, shout out Nick Mears for getting his first save of the year. I thought everybody else looked fantastic. This marked back-to-back days for the Brewers pitching staff, getting 13 strikeouts as well. So not only just getting outs, they're embarrassing the Reds batters at this point.
Yeah.
And the Reds talked about it. We can go into Sunday's game if you'd like.
I want to throw two other things out there.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just on the 11 innings, going 11 innings in game 2 out of 19 in 18 days is suboptimal, I would say. However, looking at the last 35 wins for the Brewers, 23 of them were comeback wins.
Yeah, that is insane.
And with this one being 8-1 at one point, you look at the Mets game that was 5-0. Like, there's no lead where you're like, okay, yeah, we can relax now. And that's going to come into play in the first 3 games of the Cubs series. But there's no lead where you're like, okay, we have the Brewers right where we want them. Because the Brewers don't give a shit that you're up by 5 or 7. Because they're going to continue knocking on the door, and that's why they keep calling them woodpeckers, because they're just going to peck away at your lead until it's gone. And all that winning games like Friday, Saturday, you look at the Mets, the third game of that series, all that winning those games does, it still counts as 1 in the column, but all it does is give the guys the belief like, oh shit, we came back from 3 down, 5 down, 7 down, 2 down in the 9th inning with 2 outs. Like all of those different situations that they've been in to win those games, all that does is fuel confidence.
Yeah.
So now we can go into Sunday's game and you can start giving me your takeaways from that.
Yeah, so first of all, Quintana, another super good start by him. I don't understand. I was against it. I don't understand why everybody just wanted to ship this guy off at the trade deadline. I'm like, that makes 0 sense to me. This guy's done nothing but good things for us. He eats innings, if nothing else. He gets you to the 6th. He gives you a chance to win. I feel the same way about Quintana that I did about Cubs. He's on the Cubs now. He was on our team list. Yeah, Colin Ray. He literally has copy and pasted into the Colin Ray playbook of he's going to give you innings. He's going to give you a chance to win the goddamn game. And that's all I can ask for out of the 5th best guy in our rotation.
That's completely fair.
And he goes 6 1/3 today. This was on Sunday. 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. I mean, are you going to be upset about that if that is his average start? No.
Dude, if you had that the entire season, you'd be talking about him starting the first 3 games of a playoff series.
You really would. It's insane that everybody just wanted to get rid of this guy and they wanted to give Cortez another shot. I'm like, other way around, buddy.
Yep.
But continuing on pitching, it was really good to see Tobias Myers come in and pitch 2 clean innings, 2 Ks, no hits, no earned runs, no walks. He didn't hurt himself, and that's what he's been doing when he was going into the games. He was hurting himself with the walks. The command wasn't there, and on this day on Sunday, he was very good in my opinion.
Yep.
Grant Anderson, I'll have some more opinions about him in a sec. I'll just hold on to that. I just want to say something. Now, everybody knows that the Brewers ended up losing this game. It was their 5th loss in the last 34 games. I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
But something that Tyler started and something that I started to follow when Tyler was saying it, just because the Brewers lost doesn't make what William Contreras did in the top of the 9th not clutch. Because it absolutely was. Contreras home run. After I saw that, I'm standing there because I was standing up. I was cutting up some grapes for my daughter, and she's like, "I want grapes. I want grapes." I'm like, "Okay, hold on. It's getting interesting. I'll be one sec." And he hits the home run, and I'm like, "No goddamn way they're gonna do this shit again. No goddamn way they're doing this shit again." I was freaking out, dude. I was like, "These guys are never gonna lose again. It's unbelievable." I mean, obviously we know the outcome. Now, Grant Anderson. Do I think Grant Anderson sucks? No. Do I think that he could be a valuable piece to the bullpen because he could eat up a couple innings? Yes, I do. And he's had points during this season where he's proved to be valuable. You know, just going out there and wearing whatever the hell happens, right? And that sometimes you just need that on a pitching staff in the middle of May or June when your bullpen is depleted like we had earlier this year. He goes out there, he gives you 3 innings, and whatever. If he gives up 6 runs, he gives up 6 runs. You're saving the bullpen for another day. That's a conversation that could be had about a different pitcher last night. We'll hold that for a sec. But there was people upset that Grant Anderson was sent down when Mizorowski came back on Friday. And it's like, bro, are you thinking when you talk? I would rather have Mizorowski 1 billion times over Grant Anderson.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying anything bad about Grant Anderson. He's done his job this year.
No.
But if you give me the option, I'm pretty sure it's clear as day. That's all I got to say about that. Don't argue with people on Twitter because they don't know what they're talking about.
Seeing people suggest that Nick Mears should have been the one sent down instead of Grant Anderson boggles my mind.
Unbelievable.
Steve said hopefully Mizorowski can bounce back from his start tonight. Absolutely. And, I mean, when we get to Sunday, you bring up Contreras, and I'm glad that you did mention that losses after the fact don't take away from clutch moments.
Yeah.
That's such a true statement. That's such a true thing. It's why I've said it a bunch of times, and I'm glad Jake is on the train with me.
Yeah.
That in that moment, that was an insane home run for William Contreras to hit. The Brewers were getting blanked by the Reds. Andrew Abbott started. That dude's a stud.
He's really good.
He is very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
His changeup was amazing. The Brewers couldn't get to him.
No.
But then you get to the top of the 9th inning, and Anthony Siegler hits for Andrew Monasterio, draws a walk, and William Contreras hits a 1-0 bomb. And I'm at a card show. Like, I got this pulled up on a TV at a card show, and there's like 6 people standing around. It's like, oh, it's the 9th inning. The Brewers are down to their last couple outs. And then William Contreras hits a home run, and everybody's losing their shit.
It was insane.
Everybody's going crazy because William Contreras just hit another home run. The Timber Rattlers posted a really funny video. When that happened, a guy from the opposing team was walking off, and everybody's cheering and clapping and stuff. And he's like, "Ah, yeah," and jokingly waving at everybody that thinking that they're cheering for him. Obviously, he knew that they weren't cheering for him, but it was funny to see him playing along with it. But everybody went nuts when that hit happened. Losing the game doesn't take that away. Just like I want to say, regardless of what happens in the playoffs, that doesn't not make this season fun.
Right.
So have fun. Enjoy this while we're having it. Other than that, I mean, you covered pretty much everything. The question that I wanted to get at is the Tobias Myers Grant Anderson decision by Pat Murphy. So we have this pitcher's duel going, and you wonder what the breaking point is going to be for either team. Obviously, it ended up being a 3-2 game, so it ended up being a very low-scoring game. Mm-hmm. And I personally wish Murphy would have left Tobias Myers in, and I'm not saying it for a hindsight moment. I'm saying it from a point of if this game ended up going extras like the game before it did, that I would have liked having Myers still in the game to potentially give you 2, 3, 4 innings.
Well,
That's why I wanted Myers to stay in. Not to mention that they're both right-handed pitchers, so
right.
But I also don't want people being like, "Oh my God, that was a horrible decision. Why would Pat Murphy even do that?" And basically wanted Grant Anderson to come in and get a ground ball.
Yeah.
To get a double play with guys on the corners and nobody out. Or with one out. Sorry, one out. And I'm going to say this. You just brought up Grant Anderson being called up in the first place. If DL Hall doesn't have to go to the injured list with an oblique strain, Grant Anderson's not even here to be put in that situation.
Yeah,
so it's kind of just one of those baseball things where a guy who a day ago wasn't even here ends up being put into a game and the Brewers end up losing. It's not, it's not some managing malpractice by Pat Murphy, who is very strongly on his way to back-to-back Manager of the Year awards, just because this one decision backfired. And you look at Tobias Myers and Grant Anderson's ground ball percentage. Tobias Myers is 38. Grant Anderson's is 45. You look at arm angle. Grant Anderson's arm angle, I think, is more conducive to getting ground balls because he pitches to a lower spot. So, again, it's a 7% difference, which isn't a ton, but it's some.
That is fair.
So it's might not have been the best decision made by a manager this year, but it's by far not the worst decision that we've ever seen made on a baseball field.
I mean, have you seen the Yankees this year, bro?
Dude, look at the team. The Brewers are playing right now in the Cubs.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that they've done.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Granted, a lot of it translates to the front office too, but that's by far, not some, insanely well-run organization.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So, I don't want to say that it's some sort of malpractice that Murphy put in Grant Anderson for Tobias Myers in that situation. Also, Bryce Turang errors are quite rare, and he had most of the day off. So, coming in, maybe not entirely warmed up, commits an error that you normally don't see. Shit happens.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to Monday. Now, Brewers get another win. You love to see it. And they didn't end up playing the doubleheader. The Cubs had to dodge it a second time. So take 3, they finally get it, and they win both, of course. Monday's game, what did you take away from that one? The 7-0 win.
Yeah, so Freddie Peralta's on the mound. We got our best pitcher on the mound. We're going into Monday morning thinking, all right, let's just take these 2 games. And this was my mindset. I shouldn't say we were. This is my mindset. I literally told this to all my coworkers that were asking me about the game. I said, honest to God, I want them to just take the doubleheader. They could lose the next 3 games, and then we're just going to win the division just by taking those 2 games. It would be over at that point.
I was saying 2 is acceptable. 3 would be fantastic.
Yeah. If they take, hopefully, I want to win every game. I'm not going to say that I'm happy with a loss. That's
enter the realistic part of realistic and optimistic.
If they lose a couple of games to the Cubs, we're still up 7 games right now.
Dude, and if we're being objective here, the Cubs are a top 5 team in baseball. They might be 4 or 5, but they're still a top 5 team in baseball.
Yeah, they got one of the they got the 6th or 7th best record in baseball right now, and they've been,
and they have one of the best starting rotation ERAs in baseball.
Yeah, so it is what it is. That's enough saying good things about the Cubs because we sadly have to do that in a second. In this game, the Brewers just BTA, and the Brewers after this game, they were winners of 23 of 28 since the All-Star break after this win and a 79-45 record. That's fucking ridiculous. I will say about the 4th inning with Peralta, it was a little dicey. Peralta, the control got a little out of control. He walked the bases loaded, but he ended up getting a strikeout on Casey and got Horner to line out to right field. The Brewers were up 2-0 at the time. They added a run in the 6th inning on a throwing error by a pitcher that they just called up that day. And then they added 4 runs in the 8th, and they had 9 players getting at bat in that inning. Freddie Peralta was cruising outside of that 4th inning. Absolutely looked like he was in cruise control. Koenig, Uribe, Anderson, they only allowed 1 hit over the final 3 innings. Anderson only needed 6 pitches in the 9th inning to retire the Cubs. He had a strikeout. Koenig also had a strikeout. Terang, man. Terang and Durbin both had solo shots. They both had 2 hits, and they both had 2 RBIs. If Terang doesn't stop messing around, that boy gonna let everybody on to his power, and he's gonna end up with 20 on the year, man. He's fucking around lately, man. It's insane. It's nice to see. Also, hell yeah, Joey Ortiz getting another RBI. I'm going to say this about Joey Ortiz because not enough people are saying it. For all the things that people are saying about Joey Ortiz getting out, he always tries to make the right play. So I'm going to give him credit for always trying to make the correct play, throwing to the correct base, when to go for the double play. He's been very good fielding. He was a little chippy to first start the year, but ever since then, he's been fantastic. He's had a couple hot streaks this year. I like Joey Ortiz. Now, the Brewers are absolutely filthily loaded at shortstop in the minors. So he's not going to stay the shortstop forever. But for this year, I like him. He gets the sac fly when you need the sac fly. He does the right things.
Field.
I like Joey Ortiz, and a lot of people need to stop harping on this guy. And
I think because we talk so often about how top to bottom, like well-rounded the Brewers offense is, that people see Joey Ortiz because he has like the lowest average and stuff like that. He's like the quote weakest link at the plate that people zero in on him. Like, oh, if Joey Ortiz was better, we'd be insanely good. Like, the Brewers are insanely good.
Dude,
not everybody bats 270 to 300 with 20 home runs.
Right.
That's they're woodpeckers. They're not all bald eagles. Like, that's where we're at. I will say this: Joey Ortiz has a higher batting average than Willy Adames. You talk about making the right plays. I think there's times where Willy Adames was swinging for the fences and striking out last year, where Joey Ortiz is putting the ball in play.
And every once in a while, where Adames would make an error, and it'd be like, dude, that's a pretty routine play.
I'll say that as far as it goes at the plate, that's an identity thing, and Joey Ortiz has bought into that. Not to say that Willy Adames wouldn't have, but I'm just saying, I think Joey Ortiz's profile fits that pretty well. The other thing I'm going to say is Joey Ortiz is better than Orlando Arcia was.
Yeah, I don't think that's a discussion that needs to be.
So we begged Orlando Arcia to hit 230 or 240. Joey Ortiz is right around 235. And I would argue with better defense than Orlando Arcia played.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at Monday, you mentioned Freddie Peralta. He was cruising. He only needed 25 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. His velocity was up. His breaking stuff was eating. You mentioned the 3 walks with 1 out in the 4th inning. That was to Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Carson Kelly. Then went 1-2 to 3-2, but did strike out Casey on a changeup. Got Nico Horner down 0-2, got him to fly out on the 30th pitch of the 4th inning. After that, you go to the 5th inning. Beautiful. Gets a strikeout looking, a ground out, and a strikeout looking. Bottom of the 6th goes 1-2-3 of Seiya Suzuki, Kyle Tucker, and Pete Crow Armstrong. And that is how you put it in the holster for Freddie Peralta. Fantastic. Pitched a gem on Monday to keep the Cubs off the board. You mentioned Abner, Koenig, and Grant Anderson. Looking at the offensive side of the ball, the Brewers did get 2 singles, had first and second with 2 out. Jansen left a frozen rope to the wall that ended up being caught by the left fielder. Bummer did not get any runs, but continued doing that, hitting the ball hard. The 3 exit velocities of those balls, 105.2, 103.9, and 97.4. So keep hitting the ball hard. Good things are happening. Spoiler alert, I'm going to say that again in a minute.
Yeah.
Top of the 3rd, Bryce Strang with 1 out, hits an opposite field home run, followed by a Caleb Durbin double. That was 102.9 off the bat. Also, Bryce Strang's home run, 102.9 off the bat. Keep hitting the ball hard. Brewers did load the bases after that with 2 outs, with Christian Yelich drawing a walk, and Andrew Vaughn got hit by a pitch. The Cubs pitcher was dealing with what they were saying was a blister on his middle finger on his throwing hand. I am glad it's not a more serious injury. Like, Cubs aside, we don't want to see players injured.
No, we don't cheer for injuries because they have to be people outside of the sport. So
right, and honestly, we've had this conversation too. We wish he wasn't a Cub, but we were really bummed to hear about the Justin Steele injury.
Yeah, he's a monster, dude.
We don't like the Cubs, but like we can respect the players.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Justin Steele is real good. Dan, people are saying like the Brewers must win tonight and that they need to bounce back in a big way. I mean, people got to remember, they're, like Jake just said, they've still won 30 out of their last 36 games.
Yeah.
That's a stupid number.
Imagine
we've gotten to the point where people got a little bit spoiled by the winning and now 2 losses in a row and it's like, whoa, are we ready to panic yet? Calm down. With the top of the 5th inning on Monday, after Freddie Peralta strands the bases loaded, Cubs fans were chirping Caleb Durbin, who launches a 419-foot home run, 104.5 off the bat, longest home run of his career. Made the game 2-0. Top of the 6th, Sal Frelick and Danny Jansen drew 2 out walks. Joey Ortiz hits a tapper. The pitcher throws it past the first baseman. Sal Frelick scores 3 straight singles in the top of the 8th. 3 straight 1-out walks in the top of the 8th. Joey Ortiz gets an opposite field infield single on a 3-2 pitch. Bryce Durang gets an infield single, makes the game 5-0. Caleb Durbin gets a fielder's choice after being down 0-2. So good approach. Gets a run in and then a wild pitch, scores a 7th run, and the Brewers win 7-0. Now, the big thing with this, my big takeaway from this game was that the Cubs as a team had 2 hits, 3 walks. All 3 of those walks came all in a row in the 4th inning. The Brewers had 9 hits and 7 walks. Looking at the number of pitches that each team had to throw, the Brewers threw 128 pitches to the Cubs. The Cubs threw 180 pitches to the Brewers.
Damn.
So the Brewers made the Cubs work. So even though we're going to go into now yesterday's doubleheader, the Game 2 game, I think that there's still an opportunity for the Brewers to win today and tomorrow yet by exhausting the Cubs bullpen. Even if they don't win today and they get to tomorrow and the Cubs are like, God damn, like everybody's so overworked because we've had to play the Brewers who just grind and it feels like go 6 to 8 pitches every at bat. And then the next guy jumps on the first pitch and makes an RBI out of it. And now here we are in Game 5 in 4 days and we're like, who else do we put out there? That's what the Brewers are doing. That's what the Brewers do. That's why we bring it up when we see lots of bullpen usage early in the series.
Yep.
So we can go to Game 1 from yesterday, and let you give your thoughts, and then I'll give mine. Yeah, Dan just wants to shut up the Cubs fans again.
Hey, I'm all for shutting up Cubs fans too, man.
Let them talk from the second place podium.
Honestly, I'll say this about that comment. The Bears have been absolute shit for a long time. And have we ever shut up those fans?
It's true.
I mean, every offseason, it's the Bears are going to come back. The Bears are going to bounce back.
We're winning 12 games this year.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I couldn't believe that. That was like 2 years ago. That was Justin Fields was still there, and he was like, yeah, they're going to go 12-5 this year. I'm like, I know that we've been drinking, but that is not an excuse to sound stupid. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about Game 1. I didn't get to watch most of it because I was at work. And the only thing that I know is, like you said, the Brewers are going to take their at-bats. They're going to chip away at people. And the Cubs just jumped on the Brewers early, and they didn't let up like the Reds did. Yeah. The Reds are in a much different position than the Cubs. The Cubs have a lot of veteran players. They're kind of, they have some young players too.
They're a mix.
Making a trade for Kyle Tucker and giving up the players that they did kind of puts them in win now mode, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, especially since Kyle Tucker looks right now like he's going to turn into a rental, especially since he's just like, yeah, I'm going to get paid, so I'm not pulling my hamstring running out a ground ball. Yeah, Chicago fans are loving that lately. The Cubs didn't let up, and they did a nice job keeping keeping the Brewers under wraps, especially, the game 2, they did a nice job, better than game 1. But, the Brewers were just trying to chip away, and they came up short. That's it.
So Kim said it well as far as the more broad summer goes for the Brewers. She said with the Brewers, they've been having an awesome season so far. No need to panic with losing the last couple games. Still plenty of baseball to play yet. Absolutely. Brewers could lose the next 2, still be up 5, and they play San Francisco and Arizona coming up. So there's opportunity there.
That's 4 wins right there.
Before now and next Wednesday, certainly could be.
Yeah.
Looking at the first game yesterday, Chad Patrick gave up a one-out double. The Brewers did get him at the plate with 2 outs, a high chopper to Andrew Vaughn. He had to throw it quick. Chad Patrick couldn't snag it. Better throw probably gets the runner at first base, hence the error, and not an infield single. That did lead to a 2-out RBI single for the Cubs. Bottom of the second inning, the Cubs' number 9 hitter got an infield single, and on the first pitch, Contreras got him. Good tag by Joey Ortiz also. Next pitch was a ground out, just a great rebound by Chad Patrick in the second inning. The Cubs did eventually go up 5-0 thanks to a 3-run home run by Willie Castro, the guy that I wanted the Brewers to get. So, unfortunately, 2 years in a row, the Cubs traded for my number 1 infield target. Last year it was Isaac Paredes. This year it's Willie Castro. You guys are dicks for doing that. But shout out to you guys, I guess, for recognizing game where game is and taking my guys that I wanted for the Brewers.
That's fair.
Now, you were saying, unlike the Reds, the Cubs didn't let up. I didn't think the Brewers let up either.
No, they did.
Unlike the Cubs on Monday, who were down 7-0 and stopped hustling. Brewers got down 5-0 and were like, you know what? Even if we lose this game, you're going to sweat about it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the home run that Casey hit to make the game 6-4. That was a home run in 1 out of 30 ballparks. Guess which one it's a home run in?
Wow.
So Brewers did score in each of the 4th, 5th, and 6th, threatened to tie and take the lead multiple times. At the top of the 6th, Caleb Durbin struck out with guys on 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Top of the 7th and top of the 9th, both of those ended in inning double plays. The 2 balls that were hit for inning-ending double plays, 103.5 and 100.8 off the bat. So just keep hitting the ball hard.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can go into last night's game, and you can give me your thoughts from that one.
Lowe's knows that more projects mean more tools. For a limited time, new and existing My Lowe's Rewards credit card members can get 12-month special financing on purchases of $299 or more, in-store and online. Don't wait to get the things you need. Get special financing today. Lowe's. We help. You save. Now through August 27th, choose 12-month special financing on purchases of $299 or more. Offer subject to credit approval and cannot be combined. Minimum monthly payments required. See store at Lowe's.com for details.
See, I don't have a ton from last night's game, but let me know your thoughts from that one.
Yeah. I'm not going to take your quote. I'm going to let you say it, what you told me before the show. So, and I 100% agree with what you said. The biggest thing is the Brewers during this winning streak, during this hot streak, during the second half, the thing that they obviously there's a lot of things that they've taken on from manager Pat Murphy. They've taken on toughness and grit. They've taken on playing hard every single day, right? And the other thing that they do is they don't make mistakes and hurt themselves, and they take advantage of your mistakes. So if you make a mistake, just know that the Brewers are going to pick it up and they're going to stab you in the goddamn face with it. So don't make a mistake. And I wrote that down. I didn't know if I was going to say it like that, but that's literally what I wrote on my paper. So the Cubs did a really nice job playing mistake-free baseball, and we've seen that plenty of times from the Brewers when Counsell was over here. They played mistake-free baseball, and that's the thing that he's trying to get over to the Cubs, and they played mistake-free baseball last night. The Brewers didn't have anything to take advantage of, and they only had 5 at-bats for runners in scoring position, so 0 for 5, and you know, that's just the way it goes. Honestly, just put a fucking roof on, dude. I was so goddamn annoyed on Monday night. I was like, dude, I'm so sick and tired of getting rained out in Chicago, bro. It's so annoying.
You said it before the show started. We're talking about the roof situation. You're like, the Cubs posting, oh, you know, we had to double it. And it's like, yeah, take 3.
Yeah.
On the doubleheader. You had to cancel the second of a doubleheader twice or opportunity for a doubleheader twice to finally get the games played, and then you win them both. Kim said you just got to keep looking at it positively. Plenty of good things happening with the Brewers. Too many people look at the negative first, and that's just you got to train your brain.
Yep.
You got to be better than your biology, which tells you to look at the negative first, because it's a fight or flight, hunter-gatherer mentality of you need to find the threats.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing when we're watching sports.
No.
Brandon Woodruff did successfully navigate 2 no-out runners, ended the first inning with strikeouts of PCA and Carson Kelly. Bottom of the second, had a walk, a stolen base, a single, which I think should have been a strikeout. Ends up tying the game. 2-out double gives the Cubs the lead, and it's just kind of one of those, sure, of course. Woodruff did allow another run in the 5th when Aaron Ashby came in with 1 on and 1 out. Ashby did get unlucky with the ball bouncing off of the wall, ending up as a triple. Allowed a run in the 6th. I mean, it's one of those situations where, again, the Brewers had a couple threats, all with 2 outs on the top of the 1st. William Contreras got down 1-2, came back, made it 3-2, hit a single. Christian Yelich drew a 5-pitch walk. Andrew Vaughn was down 1-2 on a 2-2 pitch, hits a single to give the Brewers a 1-0 lead. Isaac Collins did strike out, but Tyone had to throw 24 pitches with 2 outs. The Brewers in the 2nd inning made Tyone work again. Sal repped a liner, beats Tyone to first. He didn't cover in time. That's another one of those things where it's pressure. Sal Frelick beat Tyone to first base because Tyone is gassed and didn't get over to first base in time. That's a pressure thing. Top of the 7th, Brewers did have a big threat. They had 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Joey Ortiz singled, hurt his knee, stayed in the game. Sal Frelick hit a fly ball to right. Bryce Duran got tagged out at home by, of course, Willie Castro. Now, we did get good news. This happened just very recently. Joey Ortiz is playing tonight. They said the diagnosis was the foul ball that he hit off of his knee just struck a nerve and that made his leg go numb. No damage. He's in the game tonight, so good on Joey Ortiz for being a dog and working through it.
I heard he was also having stomach pain, so that's good.
Yeah, and apparently so did Brandon Woodruff. So apparently the Cubs needed to dodge 2 doubleheaders and poison the Brewers to get 2 wins.
Okay, well, hey, that happens.
Obviously, I don't think that's actually the case, but multiple guys having stomach problems, coincidence? Maybe.
Raises the eyebrows, to say the least.
So the Brewers have 2 more games at the Cubs. They play tonight, tomorrow afternoon. Then they come home. They have 3 against San Francisco, and then they will have the first 2 of the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that's what we got coming up next for the Brewers. So anything else you want to say on the Brewers before we switch to the Badgers?
If you're freaking out because of a couple losses, check yourself. They're going to be just fine. They're probably going to win the next freaking 5 games, and then you're just going to be like, wow, that was silly when I was worried that the Brewers were going to go on a bad
Because they
streak.
lost 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to bring in Mike, and we're going to switch to the Badgers. So, Mike, welcome back. It is officially Badgers football season. Yeah.
Jump. Let's go, boys.
So
we'll get that going soon enough.
Yeah, I mean, we got a week and a day before there's Badger football.
Dude,
on.
that is insane, dude.
Yes.
After next week's show, we got to be like, damn, bro, one more sleep, and then it's football season. That's crazy to think about.
We get a little strip tease this weekend, too. A couple week 0 games, the Ireland game.
There's a couple good games this weekend, too. There's isn't there a ranked match this week?
Yeah, Kansas State, Iowa State's probably the most notable. And then, what was it? Fresno State versus Kansas. Obviously, Kansas with Coach Leipold. I like to follow them quite a bit yet. So, and then Stanford at Hawaii, I think, was another one, too. But, no, we get a little strip tease this weekend, and then we're off to the races, man. I'm glad to be back. It's I've been waiting a while. I've been bugging you guys in our chat for quite a long time. So
not bugging.
Kick it off.
Just stay familiar.
Kick it off. Let's start with the Jeff Grimes hire. Mike, what are you thinking about the new offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes?
Well, I think a lot of fans are going to be more happy, I guess, because it's back to what the norm. So in a lot of ways, so to speak. So
yeah, fullbacks are back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much, right? No, it's funny because when you do just like a simple Google search of Jeff Grimes, the first thing that actually pops up is the initials RVO. That stands for Reliable Violent Offense, right? So this offense relies on, physicality, unpredictability, and balance. I think, yeah, there's a lot of similarities of what, we've seen in years past prior to the dairy raid, RIP. But it's a lot of outside zone concepts similar to what we've run in the past, a lot of like misdirection and whatnot. The biggest difference, I would say, with Grimes in comparison to, prior to Phil Longo with similar offenses we run is probably, the pre-snap motions. I think in this offense, you're going to see a lot. I wrote down eye candy, I think is the first call out, actually, when you're watching some of this stuff. Basically, you're trying to catch the defenders to watch, any guys go in motion, and then you want to create mismatches, essentially, right?
Can I jump in on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
On the pre-snap motion, I just want people to kind of have the thought of, just because we're going from air raid back to old Wisconsin, as it were, like the run first, the RBU, the O-line U type mentality, that it doesn't mean that we're going back to the way that basically Paul Chryst used to run the offense, which was like, we're going to play like it's the early 2000s. It's kind of in between. So you bring up that the pre-snap motion aspect of it. That is 100% still a pro-style facet to offenses. So I don't want people to think that the Badgers aren't going to get any NFL caliber talent because they're going back to their old style, because that pre-snap motion is still such a big deal in the NFL. And we know this as Packer fans, how big of a deal pre-snap motion is, because our team does it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just stop doing it with Jaden Reed, but otherwise I love the pre-snap motion.
Yeah, it's designed to catch, whether it's a linebacker or a safety off guard when you're watching certain guys. Eye candy, like I said, is what I wrote down. Badger fans are going to love the fact that the 12 personnel will be coming back too. Even though I think it was mentioned with Jeff Grimes, he did mention with Tucker, being banged up a little bit. I don't know about the start of the season if they're going to do too much of that, but it will be definitely being a part of their offense. And you will see a fullback as well. Badger Nation can rejoice to that too. I thought that was a nice big call out too. And, I think it ultimately creates great opportunities for, those receivers to get the one-on-one matchups too. And, you run a few plays, a little play action. Billy Edwards is going to hit Jaden Ballard or Vinny Anthony for 50-plus yard bombs this year. I definitely expect that at some point, because we do definitely got a lot of speed on the outside. And Jeff Grimes has developed not only running backs, he's also developed quarterbacks too. We have to keep that in mind. I mean, this guy helped develop Zach Wilson, who became the number 2 overall pick, at BYU, Heisman Trophy finalist. He was third in passing yards in the country that year. So just a little perspective there too. I think his last 2 stops, particularly at Kansas and Baylor, I think the biggest call Badger fans are really going to like is that, at Kansas, they were ranked 13th in the country, I believe, last year in total rushing yards per game at about 211.5 is what I saw. And then at his Baylor stop prior to that, they averaged about 219.3 yards per game, which was around 10th in the country. So I think this is going to be a marriage for a lot of Badger Nation to come together with this guy, because there's going to be an awful lot of similarities with what we have run in the past. But I think it's definitely a more, as Tyler pointed out, it is a pro system, but I think it's definitely a more modern version and modern tweaks that we can add to what we have been running in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to throw something in there, Jake? You want to throw out that stat that we all know?
I talked a lot there, so go ahead.
I did. I wanted to make that stat about Baylor a little bit more juicy. So they did average 219.3, which was 10th his first year as the OC there. The year before, this makes it more impressive. The year before Grimes got there, they averaged 90.3 rush yards per game, which was 123rd in the country. He brought it from 90 to 219. And that moment when I read that stat, I was like, holy shit, the Badgers need Jeff Grimes. It's not like I could say he fits like a glove, because he does. This is a need for the Wisconsin Badgers for us to get us back on the track that we were on. Get us back to a 10-win program. Get us back to being ranked in the top 15, top 10 consensus. Get us back to barking at the big dogs, going at Ohio State's, going at Oregon's, who's a big dog in this conference now, the USC's. Those are the guys that we have to go at. Now, Jeff Grimes has a very long coaching history. Starting in 1993 at a high school, he's been to Rice, Texas A&M. I'm not going to name them all, but he's been to a lot of colleges. He's been an O-line coach mainly. He's been a run game coordinator, getting added on, an assistant head coach when he was at Colorado. He was at Auburn when they won the title with Cam Newton. He was the offensive line coach there. He was the run game and offensive line coach at LSU between 2014 and 2017. I don't know if you guys remember a guy by Leonard Fournette, but he was pretty good at scheming him to run the ball pretty well. Mikey talked about how Zach Wilson was a Heisman finalist under Jeff Grimes, and Kansas was they did average over 200 yards. The stat I found was they were 12th and they averaged 212. So 11th, 12th, a yard difference, whatever. They averaged over 200 fucking rushing yards. They also averaged 5.5 yards per carry, which was really goddamn good. They were 7th in average yards per completion at 14.2. So not only are they running the ball, they're taking big plays. 14.2 yard average on completions is insane. They averaged 29.7 yards per game, 420.1 yards per game, and they were 3rd in the country on third down percentage. That's a massive one for me. So you're running the ball, you're setting yourself up to be successful on third downs, you're taking big plays. Yeah, this sounds like the Wisconsin Badgers that we all know and love, right? I love all of this stuff. This was a home run hire. I don't know if anybody got to watch the initial interview with Mark Tauscher and Jeff Grimes. I almost said Brett Grimes. I don't know why. Jeff Grimes. He has a background with an offensive line, right? So that's going to be a good thing. A lot of this offense is going to be dependent on that offensive line staying healthy, because the depth there is not great. I don't know if anybody's had an opportunity to kind of look at some things with this Badgers offense, but the depth of the offensive line. I was actually texting Mikey earlier this week or last week, and I was bothering him talking about Badgers, and I was like, damn, bro, the depth up front is not great. But where we do have depth, running back. So these guys are all going to stay fresh. We have some good depth at wide receiver. We now have depth at quarterback, where they brought in 2 guys that can both of them can play. And I've heard nothing but good things about Danny O'Neal as the backup, nothing but good things about Billy Edwards Jr. as the starter. Both of them are doing very well. We have enough depth at tight end. I know we're a little bit banged up, but we have enough depth at tight end. We brought in some talented guys as well. So this offense is going to be dependent on the health up front. If they stay healthy up front, this offense is going to move the ball, which is going to help the defense, and the Badgers are going to be much better than people expect it to be. So that's all I'll say. I'm going to leave some meat on the bone for Tyler to give you some stuff here.
So I have some quotes. I don't know if either of you wanted, while you were talking about rushing yards, that the Wisconsin Badgers under Luke Fickell and 150 rushing yards, that they are 12-0 when they're over. What is it, 1-13 when they're under?
Yeah.
That 150 rushing yard mark. So bringing in a guy that averages over 200 seems like a pretty good call.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, you guys talked about a lot of the things with his past. What I looked at was what a lot of people at Wisconsin are saying about him now. So I personally am very intrigued to see the mix of the run game on the edges, between the tackles, and with a guy like Vinny Anthony on stuff like end arounds. Very interested to see what they do there. Vinny Anthony himself said that they can expect not to know where the ball is going. There's so many different ways that the ball moves, you'll be surprised.
I like that.
Billy Edwards talked about Wisconsin's identity being, quote, the toughest, most physical, nastiest, and most disciplined team, really just wearing teams out. And the offensive line coach, AJ Blazek, said that the biggest thing in an offense like this, the stream, the finish, the competitive drive, the physicality, I think that's where you see the difference. As an offensive lineman, I get it. Pass pro is great, but you like running the football. We're going to throw the ball plenty, but there's going to be more play action. It's going to be built around the run game. And that is just fucking music to my ears, because I am such a slut for play action. I love it so much. It makes the defense have to move around so much that it puts pressure on them. Hey. So starting with the running game, then working that into your play action game, then gives you the opportunity to do things downfield, which I'm That's the ideal way that I would want to see an offense run.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike himself asked the question, who the most important player is going to be for the Badgers? Maybe not necessarily the best player, but the most important player. And I'm going to start with an incoming transfer, and I'm going to say it's Billy Edwards. Because unfortunately for Phil Longo, the Badgers did not have their starting quarterback healthy in his 2 years here.
Yeah.
I need to see a healthy quarterback. So before I jump into the rest of the transfers, I don't know if you guys want to throw out who you think the most important player is going to be for the team this season, but it would be Billy Edwards for me.
Go ahead, Jake. I want you to go because I can spin it a couple ways depending on what you say.
It's Jake Renfro, dude. The center. It's Jake Renfro. He has not been particularly healthy or lucky since coming over from Cincinnati, I believe. So if he stays healthy, that makes all the difference in the world. We've seen it with the Packers. We've seen it with the Badgers. Clean snaps, for one, is something that has been really big for this team over the last couple of years. And being able to just get up to the second level and get to those linebackers on those power runs is a massive thing. So a good center can absolutely, change an offense. So I think mine is Jake Renfro.
I had him written down, but I also had another lineman written down, and that's Mr. Joe Brunner. The reason why I do say that is because at least it's projected right now he's going to be playing left guard. But we're going to be talking about transfers in a little bit. But one of the transfers we did bring in Davis Heinzen. He's projected to be the starting left tackle. But I do know for a fact in fall camp they were definitely doing some rotations with like pushing Joe Brunner out to left tackle, bringing somebody in like Kerry Kadenko, for example, a left guard, and then Renfro at center. Then Emerson Mandela right guard or whatever. But just having that flexibility, I think potentially for Joe Brunner to play multiple spots. I think this is going to be his third year starting in the program. I think he might even end up being one of the captains. He's definitely one of the most vocal out there for sure, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I just think with I put him down because I think with his potential flexibility, if he needs to like kick out to a left tackle spot, which is arguably the most important, position, protects the blind side, right? So I think with the potential of him, hopefully he doesn't have to move out there, but if he does, he has the ability to do it. So having the ability to play multiple positions potentially for the team this fall, if it's needed, and having multiple, years of starting experience under his belt, I just felt like I was inclined to mention his name for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to run through the whole list of transfers that the Badgers brought in. They brought in Billy Edwards, like I said, from Maryland. He's going to be the starting quarterback. Danny O'Neal is going to be the backup quarterback, in my opinion, from San Diego State University. Yep. I think has the guy that's going to cover the passing game on the offense. Mike's going to do the running game. Jake's going to do the offensive line. I think the Badgers saw that they had the starting quarterback injured the last 2 years, and they're like, okay, we're going to go get two starting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically where that went. Then they also added Hunter Simmons, a grad transfer from Southern Illinois. He's the guy that's competing with Danny O'Neal, but probably going to be the third stringer, in my opinion. Then you go to wide receiver. They added Declan Crowdis from Hawaii, Mark Hamper from Idaho, and the big transfer was Jaden Ballard getting a wide receiver from Ohio State, a previous 4-star wide receiver, depending on where you look.
Yeah,
Jaden Ballard is going to be a huge addition for the Badgers.
Yeah.
Big question. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say he's definitely a big question mark, right? Coming obviously from Ohio State, he's been there for 4 years, right? He's probably seen it all, definitely within the locker room, on the practice field and whatnot. He's gotten some repetitions there. Hopefully, he comes in here he's projected to be a starter, so hopefully he can, put it all together, because I think he's one of the biggest question marks, yet wild cards for this team. If we can get him going, that's going to definitely open it up quite a bit.
Yeah. They added Lance Mason and Tanner Koizal from Missouri State and Louisville, tight ends. The two offensive linemen they added, Mike just mentioned one of them being Davis Heinzen from Central Michigan, and they added Eli Stein, a long snapper from Arkansas. I think with only adding basically one true offensive lineman, that it means that the Badgers think pretty highly of the guys that they have in the room already. Yeah. Going to the defensive side of the ball, I think this also speaks to what they thought of the defensive guys that they had in the room. They added JVR Suggs, Michael Garner, Charles Perkins, and Parker Peterson, all to the defensive line from LSU, Grambling State, UT Martin, and Tulane, respectively. They added 3 guys to the edge room, Mason Rieger from Louisville, Corey Walker from Western Michigan, and Tyrese Fearbry from Kentucky, who I'm very excited about. They also added Antaron Turner, a linebacker from Western California, Jameer Latimer Jr., the senior. I've seen him talk a whole bunch on Twitter, so that's why I was thinking senior. From Jacksonville State. His brother also committed this summer, so Mike's probably going to mention his name in a minute here when we get to recruits. But also Deone Hill, another cornerback from Miami. Then safeties, they added in-state transfer Matthew Young and Matthew Trainer from Richmond at the safety position. So those are the incoming transfers, the names to keep an eye on. Incoming freshmen, so we can jump into the 2025 recruiting class. Hardy Watts, a 3-star O-lineman. Logan Powell, a 4-star O-lineman. Carter Smith, 3-star quarterback. Nolan Davenport, 3-star O-line. Michael Roski, 3-star O-line. Eugene Hilton Jr., 3-star wide receiver. That's T.Y. Hilton's son, which is super cool.
Fucking Eugene, baby.
Yep. Emmett Bork, an in-state tight end. Naizi Davis, a 3-star tight end. On the defensive side of the ball, Mason Posa, 4-star linebacker. He could see playing time this season already, I think.
Yeah, he's a beast, bro.
Yeah. Nicholas Clayton, a 4-star edge rusher. Jalen Williams, a 4-star edge rusher. Grant Dean, an in-state 3-star safety. Cooper Catalano, a 3-star linebacker. Torrin Petaway, a 3-star in-state D lineman. Cam Clark, a 3-star D lineman. Jameer Scott, 3-star corner. Jamari Washington, a 3-star linebacker. Remington Moss, a 3-star safety. Luke Emmerich, a 3-star safety. Samuel Latiju, a 3-star edge rusher. Cairo Skeens, contender for a very good name in college football. Cairo Skeens is a badass name. A 3-star quarterback. And then Xavier Okpanu, a 3-star edge rusher. Out of all those guys, now that I'm done talking, all of those guys, is there anybody that you guys want to key on before we get to our specific freshmen to watch? Because that is a segment we have coming.
I'll let you go first. No, I got you. Go ahead.
No. I went first last time. You go first this time.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I'm going to stay in the state, man. I got to go with my guy, Cooper Catalano. He got to spring early in January for the Badgers. Started getting reps there already. He's been very, very consistent throughout fall camp. You're hearing his name all the time. For any Badger fans that are watching now, if you're familiar with the whole high school football scene, he broke the record last year, his senior year at Germantown High School, for being the all-time leading tackler in high school history. So, but no, since he showed up in January, he's benefited from showing up in the spring. He's constantly making plays in fall camp. If he's in the 2 deep, it's not going to surprise me. I'll stop talking after that. But I will say Jim Tressel is quoting saying, I would imagine he's going to play. He's shown instincts and ability to learn. He's a guy that can find the ball and I anticipate him playing. So that's coming straight from, Coach Tressel right there after a practice, right? Mm-hmm. And just like, you guys know, I'm pretty tapped into like what's going on in fall camp. He's one of the most consistent the guys that has been mentioned too, which is nuts for a freshman, right? So, yeah. And coming from D1 football, breaking like the state record in Wisconsin. I mean, state of Wisconsin for football is not the greatest, but it's definitely not the worst either, right? So for breaking a record like that, I think that definitely speaks volumes, especially for coming from a program like Germantown that's D1, that's playing all those big time high schools as well, right? So no, I'm excited to see what he can do.
Jake, is there anything else you want to throw out on any of the freshmen aside from your freshmen to watch?
Yeah, obviously, I didn't even pick him, which is crazy, but I love Eugene. I was so fucking jacked up when they got T.Y. Hilton's kicks. I was watching his highlight films for a couple of weeks. I was like, dude, get this guy in a Badgers jersey. I need this right now, especially after how the year ended. I was just like, yeah, I need this, right? Couple other guys that I'm really liking. I really like Hardy Watts. I think that he's gonna be one of the better offensive lineman recruits over the last couple of years. I think he's gonna turn out to be a monster. If we can go back to the transfer portal, Mikey got me going on this guy about a month ago, but Big Perk is my guy this year, dude. That's my fucking
Perk
guy,
30.
dude.
Perk 30.
Dude, I was talking, and Tyler, you know this. I'm not a big numbers guy, jersey numbers guy. But number 30 for a D tackle is fucking insane, dude. That is insane. That's not right.
You're not going to – JVR Suggs is 31, just to let you know.
Yeah. Me and you were just talking about that. I will say my favorite thing about Perk, I love his energy, dude. You can just tell that this guy's got infectious energy, man. He's going to be a big key to how well this D-line plays. They got a lot of depth up there, by the way, now. After last year, they didn't have a lot of depth. God damn it, who's 76? I'm blanking on
Dylan Johnson?
Yeah. He played like 85% of the snaps over the last like 5 weeks of the season, and Fickle like literally looked him in the face and was just like, dude, you're not going to play that much next year. That's crazy. But they got a lot of depth up front. I love Big Perk. I love Eugene. That's all I'm going to say for now. I'm very excited for this season. I think the Badgers are going to be much better than what people are expecting, especially in their own fan base.
Yeah. So outside of freshmen, Mike, what are the 2026, 2027 recruiting situations look like?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll start with 2026, right? So it's the most recent. So, going off of, so the Badgers currently have 14 commits, right? Because we still have a few months going to signing day. I anticipate, it's usually like flip season, they like to call it, right around, September. Hell, even leading up to signing day, you can flip a guy. So, because typically, we're sitting at 14 commits right now. If we want usually the average class, we average around like 18 to 22 kids. I'll be the first to admit we definitely missed out on some key targets we were going after. Currently the Badgers overall, depending what recruiting website you look at, the two big ones now are Badger 247 Sports. The Badgers are ranked 61st overall there. And then if you pay attention to the website On3, they just also recently purchased Rivals.com too, not too long ago. The Badgers are ranked 45th overall. And it really comes down to, yes, part of the reason that we're at those spots is we only have 14 kids. That's definitely part of it. And I will also be the first to admit to, that what happened last season, unfortunately, I think it did play a small part in this process, right? Part of the reason, maybe it was because we didn't have an identity on offense. However, I am going to say right now, I think the best parts about this class is on the offensive side of the ball. And it starts with, the receiving room, believe it or not, right? Wisconsin, you wouldn't think that. The Badgers brought in 3 receivers in this recruiting class, and, two of which are 4-stars, and those 2 guys are from the state of Florida, where if any, Badger fans paid attention, a few months back with the whole Xavier Lucas situation, you never would think that, at least at first glance, that we can bring in a kid from Florida anymore, right? So, like I said, it starts with the 3 receivers, and first and foremost, it starts with Jaden Pettit from Naples, Florida. The best part about him is 6'4", 195. The Badgers don't bring in 6'4" wide receivers, point blank. You just don't see that at all. I think one of the biggest connections in this whole process was, I'm going to tell a quick story here. The head coach down there is Chris Maragos. If that name sounds familiar, he used to be a linebacker or a safety for Wisconsin like 15, 20 years ago or something like that. So there was definitely a connection there throughout this whole process. Going through the other 2 receivers, the other guy from Florida, his name is Zion Legree, 3-star, borderline 4-star out of Niceville, Florida. It's right by Panama City. He's going to be our slot guy. He's 5'11", 190 pounds. He committed basically. He flipped from Ole Miss to Wisconsin. And a big part of that was, I'm going to throw him flowers right now. One of the Badgers' new assistant coaches, Jordan Reed, the new receivers coach, actually had a relationship with this kid when he was at Western Michigan prior. So just bringing him on board, getting him to flip, and bringing in 3 receivers in your first recruiting class at the University of Wisconsin is pretty damn impressive. So. And then it ends with Tayshawn Bardo out of Indiana. He was the first or second kid from this recruiting class. And I would argue this kid alone is actually playing like the main recruiter for.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing this kid talk on Twitter. trying to get the guys to commit to the team. So, and I'll just go right down the line here on the rest. I think a big part, we talked about 12 personnel, right? The Badgers are bringing in 2 tight ends, Jack Severs from Washington and Jack Janda from Michigan. He was a long time back. The Badgers are after him for a long, long time, even going back to the end of Paul Chryst days, I guess. This kid had a lot of hype. But then he got hurt, tore his ACL last year, and now he's coming back. So, one quarterback, his name is Ryan Hopkins from Mater Dei High School. If anybody who's familiar with the whole high school football landscape, Mater Dei High School is like the one big powerhouse in like the country. They're actually ranked number 1 this year going into this football season. So,
holy shit.
Yeah, basically. And his key attributes, he can run, basically, right? I think the Badgers are still trying to find like those mobile quarterbacks, basically, that can get out of the pocket. And if we do a play action and it's not there, we have the opportunity for the quarterback to take off. So I know that's part of it too. We brought in 2 D linemen. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Diju Ba out of Tennessee. That was one. And then the other guy, I got him brought up here. Oh yeah, Arthur Scott from Ohio. A couple good wins there for Coach Whitlow. As we know, he brought in like 6 or 7 guys in the portal, and now he's building more of the D line room quite a bit here, bringing in those 300+ pound guys that we were limited to last season. So he's just building up off of that. And then I'm just going to, and then we got 2 linebackers, one of which Badger fans will know, being from Wisconsin here. His name's Ben Wenzel from Appleton North High School. Kind of a late bloomer. The Badgers offered him kind of late, right before official visit season. He had offers from Oklahoma and Kansas prior to the Badgers offering, which I think is pretty interesting. Being offered from Oklahoma, of all places. Not many kids from around here really get offered, from Oklahoma. So that's impressive in its own. And then the other linebacker, let's see. Where did I go here? Oh, Aiden Reeder. I'm sorry. Cincinnati kid. That's my fault. Another 3-4 borderline 4-star kid. Great win for Coach Tressel and Jack Cooper, the safeties coach. And to top this all off, the biggest recruiting win, I think, out of this whole cycle is Amari Latimer out of Tyrone, Georgia, Sandy Creek High School, based out of the Atlanta area, basically. This kid had 40+ offers in the heart of SEC country, and he still decided to come to Wisconsin. I compared him to a bulky John Clay, but faster. I think that's like his skill set and his body type. If you go, Badger fans remember the whole with John Clay, how he used to look.
So like Monte Ball.
Yeah,
John Clay was bigger than Monte Ball.
Yeah,
right. John Clay was also one of the highest rated Badger recruits of the 2010s.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 215 pounds. That's what he's got on 247 right now. But I think that this is one hell of a recruiting win. This is I can't stress enough. 40+ offers. He turned down an official visit from Georgia prior to committing here, mind you. Georgia's right in his backyard, right? Yes, part of the reason was his brother Jameer Latimer. He's projected to be a starting slot corner for the Badgers this season. That was part of it. The Jacksonville State transfer, as Tyler mentioned before, that definitely, I think, played a part in it, but I definitely don't think it was all of it. We talk about NIL, we talk about all those things too. And, we'll be the first to admit other schools in terms of compensation, they can definitely, offer more than what Wisconsin can, right? It's definitely about relationships. I do know Amari talked about, Coach Spalding being a huge, huge part in this whole process. And honestly, when you're arriving as a freshman on campus, the coach you're going to be hanging out with the most is the position coach, right? We have to take that kind of stuff into account too through this whole thing. So it's like, Coach Spalding and then Coach, I think it was, I forget the new GM that we just hired, but we just, I know he played a big part in this too, and Coach picked it as well.
It's like Waterberg or something like that.
Yeah, he's new. He just came from North Texas. I forget his name off the top of my head, but all in all, there's still work to be done in this class. Like I said, only 14 kids as of now. I expect that to get to about 17 or 18, I would say, all said and done. Sometimes you have classes that are like 24, 25. Sometimes it's like 18, 19, 20. So it's a balancing act, but the biggest call out from this whole thing, I'm very, very intrigued because we literally just brought in a new offensive coordinator. We brought in a new receivers coach, and the fact that we got, three receivers and, 2 tight ends like that fit Grimes' system, and pretty high ranked kids for their regard that committed. It was pretty impressive. So, and then the one biggest thing, I guess, going into 2027, the reason why I wanted to bring this year in, I know these kids are only going into their junior year. The Batters have offered 6 in-state kids already. So that is very, very intriguing. It's something I think fans should keep an eye on. One of which he's from Iola, Wisconsin, right? Not too far from me, about 25 minutes away. Coors Loken. He's like one of the top tight ends in the whole country. So you'll see me talk about him as the recruiting process goes on for these kids.
We'll have to go check him out, Mikey.
Dude, we definitely can, man. We definitely can. But no, I would say, the biggest call-outs were, and then the other guys were linemen, actually, believe it or not. So we got 1 tight end and 5 offense and / defensive linemen that the Batters have offered in-state. That was the biggest call-out I wanted to do for 2027. I know since Coach Fick has gotten here, we haven't offered this many in-state kids for class yet. So it's going to be very, very intriguing to watch to see how this staff does with this group, because I think that could definitely tell that's definitely going to play a big part moving forward in the whole, I guess, perspective with this staff on how they can recruit in state or they don't want to recruit in state. And that it's going to come down to relationships, right? I mean, Coach Blazek has been, he's been very vocal about, hey, if you got an in-state kid that you think can cut it or we should get him to a camp, call me, right? I've heard him say that on the record. So I think the staff needs to do a better job, establishing these relationships with the in-state high schools. But the fact that we've already put out offers to 6 in-state kids for this 2027 class, it's exciting to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that transpires through this whole thing, because this looks like it's going to be one of the best classes in a long, long time in the state.
A couple things. I love getting a mobile quarterback. I was bitching about that last year. Give me a goddamn quarterback that can run, especially in college football. Mm-hmm. It's so massive in college football. I mean, you can run out of the power eye all goddamn day, but you need a quarterback that can just create some shit every once in a while. In college football, it's so massive. I love getting a 6'4" wide receiver. I do miss having a good tight end, so I love hearing that for 2027, getting a tight end. A power run game, a mobile quarterback, and a goddamn play action tight end option, dude. Cinema. That's how I feel. I love it.
I hope so.
So let's since we talked about a bunch of freshmen and incoming guys, let's do the freshmen to watch before we do our X factors. Mike, give me your offensive freshman to watch.
So I mentioned it to you guys before. I'm going to cheat a little bit on this one only because he's technically a redshirt freshman. It's going to be Dylan Jones. Badger fans better get very, very familiar with the name this fall. He's going to get the ball a lot. He's part of the 3-headed monster that we have in the backfield, arguably 4. But I think only 3 of those running backs are going to be playing significant time this year. But I think this backfield is going to start with Dylan Jones this fall. Redshirt freshman, quick background, ranked at 94, 4-star recruit back from the 2024 class. Probably the best commit from that class if we're going by a stars perspective from the Baltimore area. Excuse me. He got limited work last year. He had 16 carries, 88 yards. And 40, he had a 147-yard run against Purdue when we whooped that ass like 50-0 or whatever it was.
Yeah, we did.
He's going to be the guy that's running between the tackles, running those inside and outside zones that I've been talking about. I've said this about a couple players now. He's been one of those consistently talked about players throughout all of fall camp. Like this, I think he's going to be a star for this team. And maybe if it's not this year, it's going to be next year for sure. I think he's just another great addition, I think, to RBU. And I think between him, Darian, and Cade, this room could be very, very deadly this fall. And as long as that O-line stays healthy, I feel very, very good. I think one indicator too that we should also keep in mind is that everybody's going to the portal, right? The Badgers didn't bring in one running back in the portal. They also did not bring in one running back for the 2024 class or 2025 class, I believe. Yeah, 2025 class.
25,
yeah. So I think that's just some that if you need any like more positive juju, I would just look at those two things as well, going forward. I love this room. I'm looking forward to hopefully bragging about some RB stats for the foreseeable future when we kick this off.
So we talked about it. I'm going to toss mine out there because we talked about Eugene Hilton. And obviously him being T.Y.'s son is very interesting. You know that there's family success there. I'm interested because I want to see if Eugene Hilton can crack the wide receiver rotation after Vinny Anthony, Trutchka Kahuna, and Jaden Ballard. After that, it seems like kind of a fluid toss-up kind of situation with the wide receivers. So my freshman to watch is Eugene Hilton Jr.
All right. So that is the reason I did not put Eugene, because I was like, I am going to be a betting man and bet that somebody's going to bring him up. So I went a little bit outside the box, and I kind of talked about Jake Renfro, and he's going to be a really important guy, and he's had a lot of injury history. I picked his backup, who is a freshman, Ryan Corey. I think that he could become greatly important, not just for depth, but because of how important I think the center position is in a pro-style offense. I picked Ryan Corey as my offensive freshman.
Okay, so give me your defensive guy right away.
My defensive freshman, this one's a meatball, but I have Mason Posa. That guy is so good. The Badgers have 3 really fucking good linebackers, dude.
I'm so excited to be covering linebackers this year.
Dude.
You should be.
Christian Allegro is a dog.
Oh, I nailed that one last year.
Dog. And then Tackett Curtis, dog. And Mason Posa, he is nothing to sniff at. That guy's an NFL player, in my opinion. I think Mason Posa has NFL player written all over him. Probably third rounder, but he'll be one of the linebackers in a few years. And they're like, oh my God, how did I make this list? Or this guy's from Wisconsin again, just like Zach Bond was. And he's just a monster, dude.
Mike, who's your defensive guy?
I got Nick Clayton, the outside linebacker.
Right.
Part of the reason why we struggled last year on defense was the pass rush, right? I think we can all agree to that. And this guy was brought in to fix that problem. This was another early enrollee. He came in January to Wisconsin. 4-star outside linebacker out of Gainesville, Florida. So you hear that, it's like, how the hell do we pull this kid from Florida? Like, again, another Florida kid. Florida State offered him as well. So the fact we're able to pull this pull the kid out from Florida, I think that just speaks volumes. He arrived on campus at 6'4", 190 pounds. Today at fall camp, he's now 225 pounds.
I knew not to take a drink of water. I knew. Yeah. I know everybody just thought. I knew not to take a drink of water because that's crazy. That is crazy.
Coach Collins has got them boys built, man. I am so that's low key maybe the best coaching hire I think they've made. But no, that's besides the point. He's consistently, and I know just again going through fall camp and whatnot, he's consistently run with the twos. It seems like there's a good rotation there now. I think primarily the batter, you're going to see him on third down primarily, probably not the first or second downs. I think they're going to toss him out there occasionally for those third down pass rushes. If you watch some of his film, it is pretty filthy. And the fact that he's, able to put on, 30 plus pounds in that 6-month span, and it's all good weight, right? You're quicker, stronger, whatnot. Under Coach Collins' program, I think he's gonna surprise, make a few, good plays for us this fall. And at the end of the day, I wanted to bring this up because, pass rush is a huge, huge issue for this team last year, and they need immediate help, and not just in this room, but I know we got some transfers as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this kid can do when he's at Wisconsin.
Hell yeah.
So I'm glad that I went last and still was able to pick the lowest hanging fruit. And my freshman to watch on the defensive side is Emilio Agard.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I've heard nothing but glowing things about him through all of camp. And without Nizier Forkurian, who we haven't talked about much, with his ongoing dispute of if he's going to be eligible or not this fall, Probably going to have to wait until at least October if he is allowed back. Regardless, that makes Emilio Agard even more crucial.
That's very true.
Yep.
Okay. Last thing before we say goodbye, X factors. So going to go back to the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going to go back to a guy that I've had before on a list of guys to watch back when he was a freshman. And I went back to Tucker Ashcraft. And I understand that his health makes this kind of questionable, which makes this even more of an X factor because his health is going to be part of that. I'm hoping that the injury is short term, but we've seen flashes from Tucker Ashcraft last year. And I think that Jeff Grimes could unlock Tucker Ashcraft.
I agree.
All right.
Go ahead, Mikey.
You want me to go? Okay. This is also a little bit of low-hanging fruit, but I think it's vital because Tyler talked about it. He's the most important player on this team. I think he's a big X factor as well. I think it's Billy Edwards Jr. point blank. And I say that because, typically when we've had good Badger teams, with the exception of Russell Wilson, the quarterback play doesn't need to be elite. We just need average quarterback play. To give you some perspective, Billy Edwards Jr. has stats: 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions last year, with the worst freaking offensive line in the whole Big Ten, mind you. 2,881 yards passing. That was good for 5th in the Big Ten with 65% completion percentage. I'm not going to and I don't want to harp on him too much. But just to give you perspective, Braden Locke was 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 1,936 yards passing. That was good for 14th in the conference, right? With a 55.4% completion percentage.
Good Lord.
If we can get close, in my view, to what Billy Edwards is able to do with that shitty offensive line last year, I think we're in for a very, very good season. 5th in the Big Ten passing for a potential Badgers quarterback, you don't see that, right? And I think it just, and we talked about it with Grimes earlier. He's been a part of good running back rooms, and he's also, we brought up Zach Wilson, right? So I think there's just a lot of good things to look at when you're bringing in a guy like Grimes, and with a guy like Billy Edwards, who's got plenty of experience, right? Plenty of experience in the Big Ten. He's played all the big boy teams as well. And they're going to take less off of his plate, I feel like, with the running back room we already have. So if we can create that balance and have that solid identity on both sides of running and passing, I think Billy Edwards has an opportunity to be really, really solid for us this year.
All right, Jake, who's your offensive X factor?
Well, I picked 2 because I wasn't sure. Can I just give 2 real quick? I got legit reasons for both. So the first one is Vinny Anthony. So
love it.
And I go to the Green Bay Packers as an example. The guy who's the Vinny Anthony on the Green Bay Packers, guy who blocks and takes the top off the defense, is Christian Watson. And you can tell the difference in the Packers offense when they didn't have Watson in the lineup. All that underneath stuff, that's all good. Playing on time, running the ball, that's all good. You don't have a guy that is a deep threat. The defense is able to key in everything 10 yards and in, right? So Vinny Anthony's absolutely going to be a key factor, X factor for this team. And then my other one, Mike picked him for his freshman, but I have Dylan Jones. We talked all day about Grimes, his offense. I gave the stat about, how he changed the Baylor rushing attack. Tyler gave some really, really intriguing stuff on Grimes when he's coming in and what they're saying about him at Wisconsin. That's all cool. You need a guy that's going to be able to carry the ball 20 times. I look at that running back room. I look at a Dupree. Dupree is a guy that can run the ball and catch the ball. You got to get him in open space. Cade Yakimelli is your third down back. You need a guy on first and second down that's going to get you the 5 yards when he carries the damn ball. And Dylan Jones absolutely fits that archetype of guy who's going to get the 20 to 25 carries. And he's going to get you those tough yards. Not that the other guys can't, but I just think that the play style fits Dylan Jones a little bit better.
He fits the bell cow type.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah. All right, who's your defensive X factor, Jake?
So apparently Mike was looking at my X factors when he was talking about stuff because he said that pass rush was a big issue, and absolutely it was. And the guy that I'm looking, a guy who's a grad student now at this point, Daryl Peterson III. I did so much research because my car died a couple weeks ago, and I've had nothing but free time to watch all this stuff. Oh my God! I was forced to watch Badger football and watch Brewers baseball. Oh my God, poor me. Daryl Peterson had a really nice piece. There's a YouTube series that they're doing. I forgot what it's called. Something about Madtown. But Daryl Peterson had a part in there, and it really stuck with me. And I was like, God damn it, I got to talk about this guy now. He said, I don't want to be part of a class that didn't win any of those trophies. Talking about the Heartland Trophy, talking about the Axe. So that motivation alone for me is enough to be like, this guy's hungry. This team is hungry. We're bringing in these talented guys from the transfer portal, and we're bringing in talented freshmen. We got a decent quarterback. I really like Billy Edwards Jr. I think he's going to be fantastic in this Grimes offense. But Daryl Peterson, it's time for him to set up and lead by example. Not just talking about it, but finishing plays, getting to the quarterback. It's time. That is how you transform a defense, is by getting to the quarterback. So Daryl Peterson III, it's time, buddy.
Mike, who's your defensive X factor?
Jake, I'm glad we're thinking the same, but you didn't say my guy. So this is good. I got Mason Reiger as the defensive X factor. Badger fans are going to love this story with this kid. I mean, he started off as a walk-on initially. Unfortunately, he went through a couple of years with some year-long, injuries that put him back a little bit. In his last full season at Louisville, this guy had 6 sacks. He's disruptive, 6'4", 250 pounds, built like a brick shithouse. If you go follow this kid on Instagram, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's playing like he's got a lot to prove this year, especially coming back from injury. But yeah, former walk-on, transferred from the University of Louisville. And this is another one of those dudes that literally has been talked about damn near every single day at fall camp. I think he was arguably the MVP of the whole camp, and I'm not kidding when I say that. And this is going off of sports reporters, coaches talking about him. Yeah, and Jake brought up before, pass rush is a big issue with this team. I mean, tackles for loss. We were 17th in the Big Ten with 17 sacks, right? That's something we got to fix. We were dead last. Badgers were dead last in the conference with tackles for loss, 42 total. To give you some perspective, Penn State had 119 when that was the leader, right? So, and I mean, Mason in general, I mean, Coach Dressel again talked about him after practice. He literally said, quote unquote, Mason is a pro where every rep he is going to give his best. And honestly, we love people that we have to protect. Like, we have to hold him back. So he's playing so freaking hard at every single rep, on defense, that they have to hold him back. He is going to be limited, I think, leading up to the game. It sounds like they may have to give him maybe 20 snaps per game, but they eventually want to give him more, right? So just got to be careful with this guy. But it sounds like day after day after day, he's making play after play, and playing with his head on fire. So I think combining that with Jake, what you said with DP, I'm expecting a lot out of these guys for a pass rush. The bar was pretty damn low to start, so that's good, right? We just have to go up a little bit in comparison to last year. So if we can, get back up to that average, again, kind of similar to what I said about quarterback play, I think that's going to go a long way with this team.
So I also have a defensive lineman, and I'll say could very easily go in like a dark horse category because it's a deep cut. But I picked Ben Barton.
Yes.
So the reason I picked him is because of the 2024 season, because we saw flashes of him making some big plays. He was involved in some of those tackles for loss, some of those sacks. So I think if there's a guy that can take a step forward and help take the whole team take a step forward with just his play alone, I think Ben Barton could be that guy.
Ben Barton was the guy I was freaking thinking of earlier. He played so many goddamn snaps. I read an article about him online. Yeah, that's a
the 300-pound guy we had.
Very good pick by you, Tyler.
And I'll say this, as far as pass rush goes, I was torn between Ben Barton and Aaron Witt.
Yeah.
Okay. I like Witt.
So some deep cut D-line edge guys. So That's what we got this week. Tune in again next week. We're going to have obviously more Brewer games, like we said, and then next week we are going through the schedule. We're going to give our win-loss record and our bold predictions, and then Mike also posed the question of if you could change any result of a Badger game, what would it be? So give us some time to think on that question, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for sticking around, and go Badgers. We are 8 days away, so we will see everybody next week, and obviously go Badgers, go Brewers.
Woo! Later, guys.
We all know that owning a small business means you wear many hats, but sometimes you really need an extra pair of hands. Upwork is how good companies find great and trusted freelance talent. With more than 2 decades of experience, with the simple and ambitious goal of pioneering a better way of working, companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in staffing key projects and initiatives. They access a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web dev, marketing, and more. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, and get help drafting a job post or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them and take your business to the next level. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com.